Now, we know that the state wants to slash the prison budget, and the plan to do that is simply open the doors and let the inmates walk out. Seriously, overcrowding is a huge problem. You know about that riot in Chino. The governor today toured the California Institution for Men to see the damage left behind from the riot. Tour focused on this dorm, which is basically a mess. Riot left dormitories so badly damaged that inmates had to be sent to other prisons pending repairs. There were fires, which damaged some units. The government said it looked like a scene from one of his movies. Inmates ripped out toilet seats and pipes. The Chino facility houses twice as many inmates that it was designed to hold. The governor said the riot shows the need to reform sentencing laws that have led to overcrowding.
It looks like a scene from one of my movies, except this is the real danger here and real destruction. It is a terrible symptom of a much larger problem, a much larger illness. The reality is that California's entire prison system is in a state of crisis.
Governor and Democratic leaders back a plan for the early release of thousands of nonviolent inmates. Republicans opposed the early release plan, saying it would jeopardize public safety. They want to fast-track already approved bond money to build more prison cells. Leo, we'll begin with you. Which way do you go? What do you think?
Release nonviolent offenders, Fred. The prisons are overcrowded with people who are not harming others. They're drug offenders. They can go to rehab. They can go to different alternatives. Release nonviolent drug offenders. Take them out of those prisons.
Well, I got to tell you something, though, Leo. I just got to say this, and Amy, I know you want to jump in.
Okay.
Somebody's in prison for drugs, and you say they're going to go to rehab. Chances are they're not going to rehab, and if they do, it's not going to work. Go ahead, Amy.
You know, right, the 17-year-old girl, Lily Burke, was just killed by one of those people released to rehab. Rehab, I mean, do we know thousands of people, each of us, who have had rehab and it hasn't worked? I mean, why do we think it would work for prisoners? Why do we think that you stop crime by letting criminals out of their cages?
Wait a minute. You're talking about a person who doesn't harm another. We're talking about a drug offender. We're not talking about a rapist or a murderer. We're talking about non-violent,
Leo, wait a second.
Offenders.
The idea that you're not harmed, I forgot about that little thing you said, that you're not harmed by someone who, for example, steals your car. I was harmed by a car thief. I was harmed by identity thieves. They're going to let these people out. Do you think that they're going to come out of prison and they've gotten out early so they'll somehow see the error of their way?
To categorize somebody who may steal your car with somebody who may rape or commit an assault is disingenuous, and you know that. A nonviolent person is not on the same level as a rapist or a murderer. And don't merge the issue. Don't confuse the public with that type of conversation.
You know what, though? Go ahead, Amy. Go ahead. I'll give you the last word.
People who are robbing, they don't have a sort of like a little dotted line. They don't go outside of the robbery line. Do you think that they might stab somebody or kill them in a mugging? Or, I mean, you have a very naive view of the world.
I'm not talking about persons who stab and kill people. I'm talking about people who have a drug addiction who do not involve third parties.
All right, you know what? I got to take the last word here, and I'm just really interested in this, that there is some talk about let's use that bond money and build more prisons, and nobody picked that. Nobody even suggested that here. Okay, let's move on. It's going to make you think. A guy tries to steal 2 cell phones from Best Buy. He's shoplifting. The employees see it. One of them chases the guy outside. They tackle him. This guy's got a knife. He starts waving it around. The employee and his friend struggle with a guy with a knife. He gets away in a getaway car. Police arrive. They haven't found the suspect. Best Buy fired both employees for trying to help. Now, according to company policy, you simply don't chase somebody outside the store. No good deed goes unpunished. Amy, the company has to protect its employees and itself, but given the way things are, why would anybody ever want to get involved in a situation like this?
Well, actually, I just had this idea they should change their name from Best Buy to Worst Security and advertise to thieves to shop there. But I think that this is very common. Everyone's afraid of getting sued. Someone gets injured in one of these things. But I actually, in my book, I write about this. There's something called costly punishment. And people who are costly punishers are people who go against injustice at cost to themselves, and there's no benefit. And these guys, clearly they got into that. The adrenaline rose. They did that. I admire these guys. I would hire them rather than fire them.
Leo, but from a legal perspective, the company has to protect itself, right?
Right, those guys are foolish, Fred, because what if they tackle the wrong person? What if they go overboard, Fred, and use excessive force? The company is right. They're trying to avoid lawsuits. They're trying to avoid litigation. I applaud the company. Be a deterrent. Let the police handle the bad guys. You sell radios and iPods. Don't go out and be a hero.
Leo?
Well, okay, but
go ahead, Amy.
reprimand those two guys. Use it as a lesson and say next time you could get fired.
No,
you have an employee do something. They're not doing it to be bad. Their adrenaline rose. They didn't stop and read the manual when the guys ran out of the store. They forgot. They're good guys.
They're bad guys, and they set a bad example for other employees. Don't try to be a hero. Do your job.
Amy, that's it.
Leo,
Amy, we're out of time. We're out of time. Leo got the last word.
Yay!
All right, you guys, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you next week.